Okay, so what we're going to be making right now using tinkercad is a very simple sign here, or a frame for the signs. These are for the electronic day signs. So that's basically what it's going to look like when we're done. I'll take you through the process of making this thing. So the first thing I'm going to do is go over here to tinkercad. Just type in tinkercad.com, and we're going over here to create, and we're going to create a 3D design. Okay, and it's going to take a few moments to get that set up for us. There we go. So the first thing we're going to do is just bring in the basic box that we can make this out of. And if you don't like this red, that's okay. We can change that color to anything you really like. Sure. Good. Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of that. Now the next thing we're going to have to do is measure our 3D or LCD panels. So we know that they're 160 millimeters across. So we're going to go 180, leaving us 1 centimeter on each side, 180. The depth of 20 is probably fine, this distance here, but we also are going to go up a bit. And we probably don't want to just go to that same 180, but we probably want to have a little bit more room at the top. So at the top, we're going to go to 190. Oops, select that, 190. But now we've basically got the box, and this is what we're going to be working with to do the next steps. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is do that cutout for the actual LCD panel. So for that, I'm going to drag in a hole right there. Okay, so this is 20 millimeters, so we want to make this thing 10 millimeters deep in, and we know that our device is 160 millimeters, so a little bit more than a tiny bit less than that, I mean. So it'll work fine with 160 and 160 tall. Good. Okay, I'm going to turn the center mouse wheel just so I can move that around and press the red mouse button in the middle to move things like this. I want to go up a little bit. So I'm going to go to this little arrow right here at the very top. I'll zoom out a little bit more so you can see that. I want to go up 1 centimeter. So I'm just going to click on that. And now I see a number down here and 10 millimeters, 1 centimeter. Perfect. And I'm just going to move this a little bit closer to where I want it. We don't need to worry about getting it exact, and I'll show you why in just a minute. So I've got that kind of in front of it. I'm going to go ahead and select both of these items. And you saw I did that simply by pressing and holding the left mouse button down, dragging across both items. Now I'm going to go ahead and align these items. And to align them, I want the faces matching, okay? And I want it centered this way, okay? And that's all the alignment I want to do there. So now I'm just going to go ahead and select both items again, and I will merge. And because one of them is a whole, or group them, because one of them is a whole, it's going to cut that out. Just that easy. Now I'm going to go to the back here, and I'm going to do something very similar. I'm going to go ahead and bring in a whole. Again, we're going to make that 1 centimeter thick. And this time we're going to 140, okay? So come over here, and this one's going to be 140. And we're going to go for 140 tall, assuming I can get that button. I'm pressing the left mouse button to move around until I actually get to the button I want. That's not the one I want. Okay, come on. There we go. Got it. And that we also want 140. Okay. Well, obviously it's going in the wrong direction. So I'm just going to come over here, click on it, and I'm going to try to find that red thing right there. Okay, and this time I want to go up over here. Come on. Zoom it over like this. I'm zooming out. Yeah, again, I have to move things a lot here. So I'm going to go up until that says 20. Actually, I'm just going to type it in, 20. So now we're 20 millimeters up. We're going to do something very similar on the back here. We're just going to kind of move it a little bit. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and select both items again. Great. I'm going to go ahead and align those items. And this time we want to align the backs just like that. And we want it centered in this direction. Perfect. Okay. Now let's go ahead and I just left click somewhere to deselect. Now I'm going to select them both. And I'm going to come over here and group them. And let's take a look. Yeah, that looks right. So we'll place the LCD panel inside it and glue it to this raised ridge right here. Good. Now we want to put a little tiny notch in this thing so we have a spot for a cord to come out. Okay. So I'm just going to come over here and grab the cylinder tool. Drop that cylinder tool right there. Okay, now I want to rotate it. I want to put it on its side. So I'm going to come over here to these right here, and I'll just type in up here 90 degrees. That easy. Okay, I'm going to make this a little bit longer. I'm going to zoom in on that guy, okay? This time I'm not really worried how much longer. It's going to make it like longer, okay? And I want these directions to be 10. Good. And I want this one to be, come on, to be 10. Cylinder. Now I'm just going to bring it up. Okay, so easiest way to bring it up again is to grab this guy right here. I'm going to pull him up. This, I will tell you, this one's not quite as critical. So that's probably good right there. Want to move him over this way. Literally just going to press and hold and move on that guy. Now, to bring him in, I do want to be a little bit more precise as I do this. So I'm pressing the arrow key on the keyboard. You can see how I'm moving it like that, using the arrow key on the keyboard, making sure that still looks good. It does. And I want this halfway in and out. And you can see in there, you can see like this little line showing me when I'm halfway. So I'm just going to go ahead and press the arrow key until that line is now touching. Okay, I can see that I'm not quite halfway yet because that line's not touching yet. And I believe that's halfway in. It is. So I'm just going to, again, we're just going to go ahead and group all of these items. Group. Okay. So now we've got a little hole here if we need the cord to come out, like if we're going to put it against a wall. Great. Now the next thing we do need to do is flop this thing on its back. The reason we have to flop it on its back is simply because this is too big for a 3D printer. Okay, and again, I use the left mouse or the center mouse wheel in order to move that around like that. I'm going to come over here and click on this. Looks like I need to move down some so I can actually get to that. There it is. And again, we're going to go 90. We got that guy on his back. Do make sure that it's of the thicker side or the bigger hole is facing up, however you want to phrase that. Come over here to this, lower it, and we're going to lower it to 0. Okay, we're just about done here. This thing's now on its back. Just going to turn it this way so we can sort of see this top edge here. I'm going to zoom in on that. And again, to move around, to zoom in, I'm turning the red scroll wheel in the center of the mouse. Now I'm pressing the red scroll wheel in the center of the mouse, okay? Just so you know exactly what I'm doing here. That does not look, I guess it is. Okay, it just, I think it's because I did. Okay. I think it says I'm doing that. Okay. So the final thing we're going to do is add some text to this thing, okay? Oh, no, don't do that. Actually, it won't matter. So, okay. And that was me pressing the left mouse button as I moved it. I have no idea why I moved it. I think because this was annoying me right here. Okay, so I'm going to come down here and find the text tool. Great. So I'm going to drag some text in. Ta-da, text. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and click on the drop arrow next to the text there, and this is where you change what it says. Robotics 2. Oops, I'm paying attention. Car, what's going on here? Car. Height is 10, something you need to be aware of. And these others aren't too important. We're not going to worry about those right now. I'm going to go ahead and move that out of my way now. And now the next thing I'm going to do is sort of turn this way. I can see that that's a bit too big. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and click on that text right there. And I'm going to adjust that a bit. I think here I'm just going to go 10 or 1 centimeter, and here I'm going to go 100. Again, you want to keep the ratio reasonably close so it doesn't look stupid, and that's what I was doing there. Move a little bit here. I'm just going to move it over to here. Oops, I just added the thickness way too much. And the height here, okay, I accidentally adjusted the height, and you can see that right there. So I'm just going to Control Z and undo that, because that was actually a goof. It wasn't intended. And then now what I'm going to do is raise this thing to about 12 millimeters, or sorry. The reason I'm doing that is it's 1 centimeter thick, and I want it to stick out a couple of millimeters out of my object here. So I'm just going to grab this and pull it up. Now you see there, I'm going to click on this, and I'll just type in 12. You could have put in 13. It's not super critical there. Good. Now I'm going to go ahead and change the angle that I'm looking at this stuff. Come over here, click on it, making it active, and to move it without messing it up, I am just holding the arrow keys down at this point because I just want to move it a little bit down, a little bit like that. There we go. It's pretty close, up and down, so I'm sort of happy. I'm going to, oops, come on. Select those two objects just like that. You can see what I did there. It's coming out like that. The only reason I selected the two objects is I, again, want to align them. Okay, oops, keep hitting the wrong buttons. And the only thing I really care about is this one right here. I want to center it side to side. It was pretty close, okay? And that's it. You're going to go ahead and give it a name like robotics frame. I don't know. Good. And then to send it to me so we can 3D print it, you're going to come over here to export. You're going to export it as an STL. So you'll click on this one. That'll give you a file, and you'll email the file to me. And that really was all there is to making the simple frame. You can do a whole lot more to it if you want to.